Hi everyone, this is a tutorial covering the PEA method, and PEA stands for Point Evidence Analysis. You can see right here in the first paragraph under Read, and Point Evidence Analysis is in red. That's what PEA method stands for. And all the teachers in APS Online will be asking you to use PEA method when answering short answer questions. And short answer questions are questions where it requires a statement and then for you to support that statement. So in level one questioning, if I asked you something like, who was the first president of the United States? The answer would be George Washington. It doesn't require, that question does not require the PEA method because it's not a statement that somebody could disagree with. It's a fact. Nobody could disagree that George Washington was the first president of the United States. But if the question was a level two type question, and it would require, level two type question would require a short answer question. So a level two question might be something like, who was the greatest president in the history of the United States? If you said George Washington again for that question, that would not be enough for the level two question because somebody could disagree that George Washington was the greatest president in the history of the United States. Somebody might say that Abraham Lincoln was the best president in the United States, in the history of the United States. Somebody might say that Barack Obama was the best president in the history of the United States. People could disagree. And the thing with those types of questions is that if you make the statement, if you support it with evidence analysis, then you should get that question correct. So that's what we're teaching in this class, is to support your statements. Okay, so let's look at the example here that we have in this assignment. You have research and give an example of point evidence analysis. And it's separated by PEA. If this was really an answer, all these three paragraphs would be tied into one paragraph for the PEA method. So let's look at the point, okay? The point of the author here that the author is making is photography is an art form in which timing is of the utmost importance. Okay? Other photographers might disagree with that statement. Okay? So this writer will need to support that statement. Okay? It's a statement that, I mean, it's an answer that needs to be supported. Okay? So somebody could disagree with this. Okay? And the evidence is under here. Okay? So the evidence the author provides is, according to John Berger, and evidence is usually like a quote, something from the reading or a video that you watched. It could be a quote or something that you read, facts that you read to support the point. The evidence that this author used was, according to John Berger, a photographer, bears witness to a human choice being exercised in a given situation and a result of the photographer's decision that is worth recording that this particular event be seen. Okay, and then they cite where they got the quote from. Okay, so this is the evidence that this author uses to support this statement right here. So that's the P and that's the P and the E of the PEA method. The analysis is down here by the author, and the author says, in other words, photographers pick a single moment in time to represent a happening that might have lasted for a long period of time. This is a particularly significant in relation to news media because it's often assumed that photographs give us the most accurate representation of world events. Okay, so that's a really, this is where the author ties the evidence and point together. Okay, so basically, let's go back to the original question I talked about. That the question was, who was the greatest president in the history of the United States? So if you said the point would be George, let's say this was your answer was George Washington. You would say in the point would be George Washington is the best president in the history of the United States. That would be your point. The evidence would be he was the greatest president because, or you could just say George Washington was the first president in the history of the United States. He set a lot of precedents that were still used to this day by presidents. And he helped, as a founding father, he helped found the United States. Okay, that would be the evidence that you provide. Or you would give like a quote by George Washington or by somebody else that explains why George Washington was great. I think your analysis would be where you talk about George Washington and how great he was, and where you tie the point and evidence together. Okay, that's the PEA method. All right. What you're going to do on the next page is um, you're going to just take some basic questions about yourself and then answer them using the PEA method. So a question might be something like, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? So you would say something like, I would go to Hawaii, and then you would give 3 reasons why you would go to Hawaii, and then analysis explaining further of why you would go there if you had one place to go in the world, if you had that choice. Okay, so it's all answers that you know the answers to these questions. You just need to demonstrate that you understand the PEA method in the quiz. There's also a checklist on PEA method. You click down here, okay, and you can open that up and see, what teachers will be looking for when they grade your paragraphs. Okay, so student begins writing with a point. Sentences are fluent, easy to understand. Student transitions between ideas easily. Evidence is introduced sufficiently. Okay, so here's a checklist here of what teachers are looking for in the PEA method. All right. So that's all I have for you on this video. If you have any questions, be sure to ask an instructor to further explain PEA method if you don't understand it. But hopefully this will do the job. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.